The movie begins showing the lead character Victor. He is drawing the picture of a butterfly quietly in his room. The butterfly is trapped inside a jar. Victor opens the window and lets the butterfly fly away. Then we see a person in the street, and he is declaring that the couple has announced that those individuals who are invited to rehearse for their daughter's marriage ceremony in order to avoid any mishap on the actual wedding day. Now we see the parents of Victor. They are lower in social status but are wealthy. They are anxious and thrilled about their son's marriage and are constantly singing. On the other side, we see the parents of their daughter-in-law are not joyful with this marriage as they dislike Victor. Despite this, they are also singing. It is a trend to sing on occasion of marriage. Girls' parents are aristocrats who are high in social status but are under a lot of debt. They have arranged this marriage hoping to restore their wealth through Victor's parents. Victor and the girl have never seen or met each other before. The girl's parents are wishing to get financial gain from their daughter's marriage. Here the girl is sad, and when her parents approach her room, she says sadly to her mother that what if she didn't like Victor? She says that she has never seen him, and what if he doesn't like her? Hearing this, her mother replies that like or dislike is not necessary. She says that she didn't like her father, but still she married him in order to keep my parents happy. She asked her daughter that can't she be happy in her parents' happiness. The girl tells that is exactly what she is doing here. The girl sadly approves, and she cannot do anything about it. Now we see that Victor arrives at the girl's house with his parents. The servant informs the girl's parents that they have arrived. The girl's parents immediately go downstairs to welcome them, and they take them in a room here. Victor sees a piano and likes it. He takes a seat right there and begins playing the piano, listening to the piano. The girl arrives there, and the name of the girl is Victoria. On Victoria's arrival, Victor sees her and he gets nervous. The chair on which he was sitting also drops. Victor speaks to her nervously. Victoria says, "So you are Victor?" She asked him if he was playing the piano. She tells him that her mother does not allow her to play the piano, so naturally she is surprised that who else is playing the piano in this house. Victor says nervously, "Oh, I am just now." Victoria takes a seat next to the piano. She picks a lavender flower from a pot and hands it to Victor. This means that maybe Victoria approves of Victor. Meanwhile, Victoria's mother arrives there. She finds that Victoria is next to Victor. She tells her to get to her at once. The wedding day rehearsal is being held here. Victor and Victoria are practicing to say their marriage vows correctly. But many hours have passed, but Victor still cannot say marriage vows correctly because he keeps forgetting his vows. Everyone present there, including Victoria, are annoyed with him. Meantime, a puzzling and bizarre man arrives there whose name is Lord Barkis. He inquires if the wedding practice is being held, and he takes a seat there. Now the priest tells Victor to practice the ring ceremony for the wedding. Victor takes out the ring from his pocket, but it accidentally drops from his hand. Victor, being nervous, is unable to do any task correctly. The ring drops and starts rolling. Victor attempts to grab the ring, but while doing this, the candle stand also drops there. The burning candle drops on the gown of Victoria's mother, and it sets on fire. Victor gets frightened. He is stunned and hurriedly leaves from there. He walks into the forest. Reaching there, he speaks to himself that what is wrong with him. He calms down and decides to practice there without anyone watching. He thinks that he can speak his vows correctly there, and he starts speaking his wedding vows with a tree. He sees that there is an upturned root. He places the ring on that upturned root, which resembles a finger. The root begins to show movement. That finger-shaped root grabs his hand. Victor realizes now that it is the finger of some dead person and not a root. Meantime, a dead woman rises out of the grave wearing a bridal gown. She is a corpse bride rising from grave. She tells Victor that she is now his wife. She is of the view that Victor has arrived there to marry her. Victor quickly starts running away from there. On running, he arrives at a bridge and takes a breath thinking the corpse bride has left, but as he turns back, she is standing before him. Victor gets scared and he passes out. After a while he comes back to his senses only to find that he is surrounded by strange skeletons and creatures. Victor asks them that where exactly is he now. They inform him that this is land of the dead. Victor is scared and he draws a sword from a dead body and starts swinging it. But all of dead bodies are calm and they tell him it's of no use and they start singing a song through that song. The entire life story of the corpse bride is evident. It has shown that she loved someone, but her parents didn't approve of the boy. So she decided to elope with her lover. The girl puts on the bridal gown of her mother and took family jewels and bag of gold with her. She arrived into the forest near this tree where she met Victor. She arrived at 3 a.m. and waits for her lover. The lover who promised to marry her, a perpetrator, arrived and snatched her jewelry and gold and killed her. She died, and that place near the tree became her grave. This means that the boy who promised to marry her was indeed a bad person. He reached there and murdered her and took gold and jewels from her. They informed Victor that she has been lying there since and is waiting for her lover. Only her true love can set her free from that place. They tell Victor that he has set the bride free. Meanwhile, a word spreads in the land of the living that Victor has been seen with some other girl on the bridge. This information is told to Victoria's parents by one of their relatives who had came to attend the wedding rehearsal. Hearing this, Victoria's family gets angry and Victor's parents asked for some time to find their son. Meanwhile, in the land of the dead, the corpse bride begins dancing with Victor. Here Victor asks to let him go and that he place the ring on her finger, mistakenly saying this. He runs off from their corpse bride is on his trail. There is a worm behind the eye of the corpse bride. It tells the bride that it doesn't like Victor. It says that it doesn't understand why she is following him. But the bride is still going after Victor. Victor arrives at a place and hides in a casket to be safe. But the corpse bride finds him anyway. Now corpse bride makes him sit on a bench and gives him a box as wedding gift. On opening the gift, Victor finds his long dead dog and he gets delighted. Victor is desperate to go to Victoria and he gets an idea. He thinks that the corpse bride is not sparing him, so he tricks her by asking her to return to the land of the living because he wants her to meet his parents. Victor thinks that he will get rid of the corpse bride with help from his people. The bride agrees and becomes happy on hearing this. The bride takes Victor to visit Elder, who is the kind ruler of the land of the dead. The corpse bride requests to visit the land of the living. On hearing this, Elder opens a book and starts reading from it. Then he prepares a drink for himself. Then he catches a crow and presses it, and an egg comes out of it. Then Elder tells Victor and the corpse bride to say a secret word to return from the land of living. Elder then breaks the egg and the smoke comes out of it, which brings Victor and corpse bride back to the same forest where they accidentally got married. Victor asks corpse bride to wait there until he talks to his parents and returns to get her. The corpse bride agrees and sits there. Victor leaves from there and reaches Victoria's house. On reaching the house, he overhears Victoria's parents being enraged. Victor he comes to Victoria's through the window. He tells Victoria that he likes her and he is happy to get married to her. Victor informs Victoria that there is a spirit after him, which is not letting him go. Meanwhile, the corpse bride is tired of waiting in the forest alone. The worm inside her eye tells her to go behind Victor. The worm warns that Victor might also deceive her. The corpse bride starts to go behind Victor. Victor is talking to Victoria, but has not yet informed her that he got married to the corpse bride. The corpse bride arrives at Victoria's place. Victoria inquires Victor that who is she? The corpse bride informs that she is Mrs. Victor. Victoria gets shocked. After hearing this, Victor clears that he did not marry it willingly. On hearing this, the corpse bride becomes enraged and she gets hold of Victor. She says the secret word and brings Victor back to the underworld. Meanwhile, Victoria is worried and informs her parents that Victor is in danger. But they don't trust her and lock her in her room. Victoria flees her house through the window. She goes straight to the priest and tries to inform him of the situation. The priest says that it's not possible for a human to get married to a dead girl. The priest brings her back to her house, and this time her parents lock the window of her room as well. Victoria's parents are worried that they couldn't restore their wealth. Then Barkis, who was present in wedding practice, comes there. He informs Victoria's father that he is a wealthy person and he has everything. Saying this, Barkis asks Victoria's father that he wants to marry Victoria. What could be more joyful for Victoria's greedy father? He immediately agrees. On the other side, the corpse bride and Victor are back in the underworld. The corpse bride is angry at Victor because he lied to her and he went to meet Victoria. Victor tells corpse bride that he didn't marry her willingly and that she is dead while he is alive. He asks the corpse bride that how are they supposed to live together. Victor tells her that if he knew all this will happen, then he would have never placed that ring there. Hearing this, the corpse bride becomes sad. She takes a seat and begins playing the piano. Victor also sits next to her and begins playing the piano. Suddenly, a voice declares that one more dead has arrived. This dead person is Victor's coachman. He informs Victor that Victoria is getting married tonight with Lord Barkis. After hearing this, Victor feels hurt. He drops the lavender flower which Victoria gave to him. When Victor is getting back to his room, he hears Corpse Bride is talking to Elder. Elder is telling her that it knows that she likes Victor, but he is a living person, and if she wants to live with him, then she should ask Victor to go to his living world and drink poison. Then she will be married with him in the underworld. Then they can be together. The Corpse Bride denies this because she truly loves Victor here. Victor enters and tells her that he knows why she is sad. How can she tell him to go to the living world to die? But now he is ready to do this. Corpse Bride becomes joyful. The dead people dress up Victor and Corpse Bride and start preparations for the wedding. Now we see Victoria's wedding. She is getting married with Lord Barkis. They are dining together on their wedding day. Meanwhile, the dead arrive there for wedding of Victor and Corpse Bride and spread chaos. Everyone gets panicked at first, but then they recognize their departed loved ones. So they greet and reunite with each other joyfully. Now the dead people proceed towards the church to attend wedding of Victor and Corpse Bride. Barkis asked Victoria to escape from there, because the dead have attacked there. He asked Victoria to grab all her jewels and money before escaping. On hearing this, Victoria informs him that she is broke and has no money. Barkis becomes furious on hearing this. Victoria secretly follows everyone to Victor and Corpse Bride wedding. She is looking at them secretly. Victor says his vows properly and is about to drink poison. The Corpse Bride sees Victoria and asks Victor to stop. She is doing this for Victor and Victoria because she realizes that she is denying Victoria her opportunity to be with Victor. The Corpse Bride gives Victoria's hand in Victor's, but then Barkis arrives there to kidnap Victoria. Seeing him, the Corpse Bride recognizes that he was the fiancé of the Corpse Bride who murdered the Corpse Bride just for money. Barkis tells Victor to leave Victoria. Victor denies. So Barkis attacks Victor with a sword. Barkis is about to kill Victor, but the Corpse Bride intervenes and gets stabbed. But she is already dead, so nothing happens to her. She points the sword at Barkis and asks him to leave. Barkis mocks the Corpse Bride, saying she died a damsel, and says that the dead cannot kill him. Saying this, he drinks the poison unknowingly. Barkis dies, and now the dead carry him to take the revenge against him. The Corpse Bride releases Victor of his promise to marry her and hands him his ring. She also throws her wedding bouquet at Victoria. Now being free from her torment, the Corpse Bride steps into the moonlight. She transforms into butterflies and flies into the sky.